Let me ask you something. When you hear the word genius, what's the first image that pops into your head? Yeah, probably some eccentric scientist with crazy hair, right? Well, today, we're going to peel that whole stereotype back. We're diving into the subtle, quiet habits of a hidden genius, traits that have less to do with a flashy intellect and way more to do with a deep, complex inner world.
Okay, so let's get right into it. To really get a handle on the real habits, we've got to adopt a little habit of our own first, and that is the habit of challenging our own ideas of what a genius is supposed to look and act like. You know, we're all sold this idea of this socially awkward, easy-to-spot eccentric. But the reality? It's way more internal, and honestly, a whole lot quieter. It's about having this profound empathy, this constant search for meaning. And these are traits that are almost always hiding in plain sight. Real genius doesn't have to shout from the rooftops. It just kind of lives and breathes in the little things.
So, this brings us to our very first habit of a hidden genius. And right off the bat, this has pretty much nothing to do with IQ scores. Nope. It's all about the richness and the sheer intensity of their inner emotional and intellectual life. Psychologists have a term for this. They call it emotional depth. And let's be really clear here. This is so much more than just being sensitive. It's the ability to feel a massive range of emotions with this incredible intensity and nuance. It's like the engine that fuels this powerful sense of empathy and a deep, almost unbreakable connection to other people, to art, and to the world itself.
So what does this actually look like day to day? Well, it might be an absolutely unshakable sense of justice, where any kind of unfairness feels almost like a personal wound. It's being genuinely moved to tears by a song or a sunset. It's that constant nagging need to figure out why things are happening, to find some deeper meaning in everything. And it usually means they form these incredibly powerful, loyal bonds with just a few people.
And that deep inner world, it leads us directly into the second habit, a fundamentally different way of seeing and processing the world around them. It's really all about seeing the things that most people miss.
This is something often called multidimensional thinking. So imagine most people see a problem as a straight line, from A to B. Well, a multidimensional thinker sees a whole complex web. They just naturally spot all the different angles, the hidden connections, and the subtle patterns that link ideas that seem totally unrelated to anyone else.
And thinking this way has some really clear results. These are the folks who actually thrive on complexity and nuance. Simple, black and white answers can be incredibly frustrating for them. And that amazing ability to connect the dots across different areas, well, that's the very thing that fuels their creativity and their totally unique way of solving problems.
This web-like thinking is often powered by our third habit, multisensory perception. It's like experiencing life in high definition, all the time. Sights are just more vivid, sounds have more texture, even emotions can feel like they have a color or a shape. It creates this unbelievably rich inner world, but as you can probably guess, it can also be seriously overwhelming at times.
All right, now for our final two habits, which are really just two sides of the same coin. It's a trait I think a lot of us recognize, but maybe don't fully get how complex it is: perfectionism. For the hidden genius, this isn't just a little quirk. No, it's more like a core operating system with a really bright side and a really dark one.
On the one hand, this intense drive for perfection is an incredible engine for progress. This is the habit of setting sky-high standards. It's the force that pushes them to create, to innovate, and to pull off things that other people might think are totally impossible.
But, and this is a huge but, that exact same engine can easily turn into this crippling source of anxiety. And the fifth habit is basically learning how to deal with this. That constant pressure to meet their own impossible standards can create this nagging fear of just not being good enough.
And this lays out that internal battle just perfectly. On one side, perfectionism is a superpower. It drives excellence, incredible attention to detail, and this real commitment to quality. But on the other side, that exact same drive creates this chronic fear of failure. Crazily enough, it can actually lead to procrastination, right? Because the fear of not doing it perfectly is so paralyzing, it's sometimes just easier to not even start. It just fuels that constant draining feeling of never quite measuring up.
So we've gone through all these different internal habits. Let's try to pull it all together. How do you actually recognize these habits of a hidden genius? Whether it's in a colleague, a friend, or, hey, maybe even in yourself.
So the crucial point here is you're not looking for a big show. You're looking for the quiet habits. You're looking for that person who feels things so deeply and is always searching for meaning. You're looking for the mind that's constantly making connections that nobody else sees.
You're looking for that heightened, sometimes overwhelming way of experiencing the world and that constant, lifelong dance between the incredible drive for excellence and the fear of failure.
And all of this brings us to one final really central question. With this capacity for such amazing insight and deep connection, but also for all that anxiety and overwhelm, are these traits actually a gift, or are they a burden? The answer, I think, much like the people who have them, is probably a lot more complex than it looks on the surface.